Starfield, Bethesda's highly anticipated new IP, has been released to the world. I have played and beaten it, and I have some thoughts. So let's talk about it. Starfield has become what I would argue one of the most divisive AAA game releases of this year. With the poor reception Redfall received on its release, me and many others were hopeful that Starfield would be Xbox's return to producing high-quality first-party titles. I think the game succeeded, but I can also see why others feel it fell short of the mark. Let's begin with why I feel Starfield succeeded. Starfield is the next evolution in the Bethesda formula, and when you compare it to their two most recent releases, Fallout 4 and Skyrim, you can see that they have improved upon those same systems in every way. Whether that's dialogue and conversations, they're more dynamic and engaging this time around. This open world is their most polished and stable upon release. The facial animations and characters have been vastly improved. They're able to express a wider range of emotions and reactions, and the world itself just feels more alive and lived in. In their past games, they have allowed you to make choices and join factions to tell the story you want, as well as make your character live in the world the way you want them to. Starfield is the best version of this. You can join a variety of different factions, and their quest lines have a bigger effect on the world than the factions in any of their other games. You feel like you're making a tangible difference in the world, and that your choices have weight to them. A good example of this is when I joined the Vanguard faction in my playthrough, and I found a quest where I found out that the heat leeches found all over the galaxy were the source of the deadly terramorphs that were known for destroying human colonies, and in that I uncovered a conspiracy that was causing the terramorphs to be created at an unprecedented pace. And to deal with that threat, I had to make one of two choices. I could decide to bring back a species that was a natural predator to the terramorphs, but it would take some time for that option to start having an effect on the issue. Or I could decide to release an experimental microbe that would kill off the terramorphs, but there was a potential for it to evolve to affect humans later on. I ended up choosing bringing back the species that would hunt the terramorphs. It would take longer for it to solve the issue, but I felt it was the safest option in the long run. And as I was making this decision, there was a lot of back and forth between a lot of different characters. They were arguing how safe was the microbe, or that the species would take too long to replicate to have an effect before more human life was lost. And once I made my decision, one of my companions was against it, and they thought I made the wrong choice, and even questioned me about it later. And as I moved on to other stories and quests, I could still hear people talking about my decision, and it was just so cool to see how my choice affected the world, and hearing how those around me felt about it. It elevated the immersion I felt to a level I had not felt in a Bethesda game since Oblivion. Another aspect of the game that I really enjoyed was the space travel, as when you jump to a new planet, you honestly do not know what is going to happen. Will you jump into a field of space pirates and have to fight your way out to escape? Will you find a nice grandma who just wants you to come on board for dinner? Or a courier ship that's broken down and needs help delivering a package? Possibilities feel endless. It really helps the galaxy to feel connected rather than separate and segmented, as I could have easily seen it where only a handful of solar systems had these events, while others were barren and only served for the exploration aspect of the game, and I'm glad this wasn't the case. Now that we've talked about some of the reasons why I feel this game succeeded, let's move on to why I can see why this game did not work for some people. Let's begin by continuing to talk about the space travel. I know I just got done talking about how this was a good aspect of the game, but it does have its issues. The biggest I would say is that it is designed in a way where when you enter space, you are virtually limited to the small area you spawn in. I say virtually because you can technically fly out into space on the planets, but it'll just take you hours. This aspect of how space travel works does lessen the immersion of the game and conflicts with what I stated before. It becomes a thing where it's both immersive and unimmersive at the same time. It causes you to constantly be in the menus to navigate space when you would rather just be actually navigating space. It makes such a huge world feel jarringly small at times. Another aspect would be the massive amounts of loading screens that are within this game. This generation of consoles has given us games with little to no loading screens, and if a game does have them, they're only there for a couple seconds. Starfield in this case feels like you're playing Skyrim again. The loading screens happen every time you enter a new area or building, and they are far too long. This unfortunately makes the experience of playing the game feel segmented and disjointed. And now let's talk about how the game does not do a good job of explaining how to play it to the player. I know this has led to a lot of people feeling frustrated with the game and often be unaware of some of its systems and mechanics, and it's not uncommon that you would have to go out of your way to find some of these. It feels that this game at times works against itself in helping the player navigate it. These are just some of the flaws found within this game, and on their own, none of them are too egregious, but when you mix them together, I think it's easy to see how this could cause someone to not enjoy the game and have a frustrating experience. And for all this game does to make it feel modern, it feels it has just as many things that make it feel stuck in the past of previous generations. This is not to say the game is bad, and I honestly think the hate surrounding it is completely unwarranted. I think it is very much a game where it'll either click with you or it won't. And I think trying to say this game is objectively bad is disingenuous. This game has many flaws that are justifiably called out, but this game does have a lot of fun within it. Like, I literally stayed up till 3 a.m. building a ship, and it was great. And at the end of the day, I think after the long dry spell of little to no first-party Xbox games, I think Starfield is a strong step in the right direction. And I truly believe that future first-party Xbox titles will start to rival PlayStation's exclusives, and I cannot wait to see that. Thank you so much for watching. That was my general thoughts on Starfield and kind of the discussion surrounding it, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoy my content here, I do stream over on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, and the link's gonna be down in the description below. So if you enjoy my content here, go ahead and follow me over there. And if you want to interact with me outside of videos and streaming, go and give me a follow on Twitter and Threads. It's all at VeteranDex. The links will also be down in the description. And yeah, I've been VeteranDex. You all have been amazing, and I'll see you all in the next video. But never forget that you matter.